Greetings, my name is Daniel Brookshire, and today I'm going to show you how to create custom measurement properties on exchanges in UPDM. So let's take a look at what we've got. I've already got some systems. I've got a systems interface internal description, a systems functionality flow description. I've already got an exchange on it. I've got data. Let me look at that for a moment. We have the two pieces of data. We've already done X and we're going to do Y after we get done. I also have a couple of enumerations that we're going to use for the types of some of those properties. So let me go to the SV-6 and show you what our target is going to be. So normally we add additional properties here. Usually I go to the columns and I go down to the measurements and then I select what measurements I'm going to display. We're going to create a brand new set of properties for the exchange. They're going to be based on a spreadsheet that is probably familiar to a lot of people. Here it is. And this is kind of a typical legacy way to show what the exchanges are. In this case, it's a SV-6. And there's a bunch of properties here. They're slightly different names than maybe some of the names that we have already in the tool. Plus, we're going to take this critical and joint properties and the classification properties and make sure that they are enumerations so that we have a pick list. Let's go back here. I'm going to go to my SV-7 table and I'm going to add a new measure. There we go. And here's where that little copy of columns comes in handy. I'm just going to do a paste. And it's going to ask me, what am I pasting? I'm going to paste measurements. And it's going to paste all those cells from the spreadsheet as the names of all my measures. So that was quick. I didn't have to type in all of that. So let me go over to that div diagram. Throw this on this div diagram. It's not really moving. We're just using this to modify these properties. So in fact, the yes, no, that was for critical and for joint and classification down here. I'm going to click on this critical and we're going to say the default value is no. And we'll do the same thing for joint. You can see I have that nice little pick list that's coming up. And on security classification, we're going to put TBD for its default value. The other thing we're going to do is we've got some lists here and this throughput threshold and objective. Those are just values. I'm not going to show you the rest of it, but I've just filled in all the types and the default value. Now I have to do a couple more things to help the tool understand what I'm doing. I'm going to right click on this and apply a stereotype to this. Stereotype, and we're going to find the DODAF property stereotype, apply it. First, I'm going to go to the columns, select columns, and we're going to search for the DODAF properties applies for, and we're going to select for that exchange. An exchange lives down in the UPDM profile, L0, core, all elements. There it is, exchange, and OK. We're almost there. If we go look at the resource, we can see in the columns, and I go to measurements, so we're not quite there. I don't see my property down here yet. So all I have to do is find that resource interaction and double click on it, get my specification window, and add a property set to the property set list. That's going to be my custom property. Find that down in the SV-7. I added it over here on that list. Hit OK, hit close. Now we go to columns, go to measurements, and there is my custom measurement set. I'm going to bring in a few of these. I don't want too many. I think these are good enough. Maybe that one too. And you can see that we've got the new columns. You see also this little button. If I tap on that button or double click, I get the default for that field. Otherwise, it's unset. Here on critical, I can say, well, that's yes. On joint, I'll say yes. Over here on security classification, maybe I'll say unclassified. Here in the transport protocol, maybe I'll say TCP/IP. So that's it. It's similar for UAF. There's just different diagrams that I use, but not much else different. And this should work for either of the UPDM or UAF plugins. Next thing I'm going to do is add to this function, get some more exchanges going. Going back the other way, go grab the exchange item. And we're going to also display this on the SV-1 diagram internal. There we go. And I'm just going to do this like this without any ports. Get our exchange manager going here. And we want this F3, F4. Just to show quickly how this is done. Go back to our role-based table, and there is our new line, and we'll put in the defaults. That's it. Let's take this one and make it unclassified and leave the other ones alone. Let's review. First, I had a target spreadsheet that I was trying to replicate in the tool. I copied the headers just to save myself a little time. I had a couple of enumerations, one for classification, one for my yes, no's. You could do other ones that are, it depends on what you're trying to target. Then I created the measurement set in SV-7 typical. And in the containment tree, I selected this item and pasted all those headers into it to create all my measurements. We did a little bit more work to set up what the types were and what the defaults are. Then I added the DODAF stereotype to that measurement set and set the applies for on that tag value to exchange, which helps the tool understand what we're trying to do. Finally, I picked one of my exchanges, and because we're in the SVs, that's a resource interaction flow, and I added to the property set property in the specification window my measurement property set. And then I'm able to click on the measure button in the columns of this table and display all the columns that I need to see, and click on the little buttons to get the defaults or set my values. Well, that's it. As usual, if you haven't hit the subscribe button before, go ahead and hit it now. There's going to be a lot more videos that we're going to bring to you in the future on Cameo, Magic Draw, UAF, UPDM, simulation, all sorts of things. If you have any questions, comments, requests, go ahead and put them below. Until next time, have fun modeling.